name is Inspector Gould, and I am here on a very tragic reason tonight. In the last hour, a terrible thing has happened. A very terrible murder has taken place. Now, although I am quite capable myself of solving the mystery of who did it, I thought it might be good tonight to have some help. And so I am calling upon all those people here present to witness and bear witness to what happened this evening. You need to use your eyes, your ears, not your mouths, and your brains. That could be the difficult one. The clues are all there, and the clues point to one person and one person alone. I am currently the only person who knows who that person is, but hopefully by the end of the evening, some of you can be pleased with your efforts, and others of you can hide your heads in shame at getting it wrong. So, are you ready? Yes. I will take you back to an hour early to the theatre where the Oily Cart Theatre Company are presenting a show, and to the dressing room of the diva of them all, Miss Alice Davenport. Miss Davenport, this is your half-hour call. Your half-hour call.
Half an hour? Surely that can't be right. Emily! Emily! You're going to have to help me get dressed. You're going to have to get me dressed. Oh, where have you been? That was a half an hour call. I need your help.
I'm sorry, I had to get some medication for my mother. The doctor says she's not getting any better. I hadn't realised it was that late. My watch must have stopped or something.
My watch must have stopped or something. Oh my goodness, woman. What sort of excuse is that? Oh, you're paid to assist me in all things, and that includes getting me on stage in time for curtain up.
I'm sorry, Miss Alice.
Oh, now, get my dress ready, will you? I need to get my makeup done.
Yes, Miss Alice.
Oh, what are they?
Walnuts, I think. I think they're Mr. Tellingford's.
Well, get them away from me, woman! Oh, my goodness me, are you trying to kill me? You know I'm allergic to them.
I'm sorry. I hadn't realised they were there. I'll move them straight away.
And I should think so. You're beginning to try my patience, woman. I'm glad I won't be around here much longer.
Sorry.
Yes, Emily, I'm moving on.
Moving on? Where?
To London. My talents have finally been recognised, and I'm to top the bill at Walton's Music Hall. No more provincial theatres for me. From now on, it's going to be caviar and champagne. Oh, you don't seem very happy for me. Don't tell me you're so small-minded that you're jealous of my achievement.
Oh no, I'm thrilled for you. I was just...
Oh, speak up, woman. Speak up. What is it?
I was just wondering what will happen to me.
You?
I've been your personal dresser for 15 years now, ever since you married Mr. Arthur. What will I do? Am I to come with you?
Oh, goodness, no. No, what a thought. What would a country girl like you be doing in a metropolis like London? People are so much more sophisticated there than you could ever be.
Then what will become of me?
Well, how should I know? To be frank, I don't really see it as my problem. I'm sure you'll find something else to do.
You know how difficult it is to find work these days. I know. There is nothing round here for you, and you know I can't move away.
Why not?
My mother, of course. She's practically housebound these days.
Well, as I said, it's not my problem. Now, I will pay you to the end of next week, when my contract here ends, and after that you are a free spirit. Now, I need to go to the convenience. I want my costume ready when I get back.
Oh, Emily. Goodness, my girl. Whatever is the matter?
Oh, nothing, Mr. Arthur.
It doesn't look like nothing to me. Now, come, Emily. We've known each other for many years now. Tell me, what's up?
Well, it's your wife.
Alice, what about her?
Well, it's this new job she's got.
What new job?
The one in London. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Arthur. I assumed you know.
Emily, you've known my wife and me long enough to know that communication is not our strongest attribute. Tell me, what do you know?
Well, all I know is she's been offered a starring part at a theatre in London, and that from next week she will not be requiring my services.
That devious little trollop. I wonder when she was going to tell me about that. Oh, Emily, it seems that you're not the only one who's been sprung a surprise tonight. I am sorry. I know things are going to be hard for you. Now, I've got a little cash saved up. If that would help.
No, Mr. Arthur. It's very kind of you, but I could never take your hard-earned money. It sounds like you might need it. I'll survive somehow or other. Look, I'd better get your wife's costume ready, or I'll be in more trouble.
I think you'd better. Are those walnuts?
Oh, I forgot they were there. Your wife asked me to remove them.
Oh, yes. Wouldn't do to have my Alice coming into contact with those, would it?
No, sir.
No. Still, if you wanted revenge, that would be a great way to get rid of her.
Oh, Mr. Arthur!
Only joking, Emily. Who do they belong to, anyway?
I think they're Mr. Tallingford's.
Oh, really? What are they doing, then, in my wife's dressing room?
I don't know. He must have left them in here when he was talking to your wife earlier.
Oh, talking, was he now? I wonder what that was all about.
Oh, sir, I'm sure there was nothing in it.
It's all right, Emily. You don't have to cover for it. This is a small theatre, and I know exactly what's been going on between my wife and Mr. Tallingford. You better give those back to him.
Yes, sir.
I've never really liked walnuts myself. Make me nauseous. I really don't understand their appeal, but I suppose that we're all different.
Yes, sir. I'd better get on. Your wife will be back any second.
Yes, indeed. And be sure to tell Mr. Tallingford to be more careful where he leaves his nuts lying around.
Yes, sir.
So, Arthur,
Oh.
what are you doing here?
Well, believe it or not, I work in the same theatre as you.
Yeah, well, shouldn't you be getting dressed? The curtain goes up in less than half an hour.
Considering I don't know until Act 2, I don't think there's any rush. We're not all glittering stars here, you know.
What are you talking about?
I think you know.
Oh, for goodness sake. If you've got something to say, then say it. I haven't got time to play games.
Very well. I've been talking to Emily.
And?
You know, you're very good, you know.
At what?
At playing the innocent party. When was you going to tell me?
Tell you what?
About the new job. The starring role in London.
Oh, that. Why should that bother you?
I am your husband.
Really? I thought you relinquished that title when the booze became your mistress.
Well, it's hardly surprising I've turned to drink. Your ego got in the way of any happiness that we might have had together.
Yes, well, the booze can be your constant companion from now on. I shall be leaving for London at the end of next week.
And when was you going to tell me?
Oh, for goodness sake, I only found out for myself last week. I just haven't had the chance to tell you.
Last week? Last week? And you wasn't going to tell me at all, were you?
Well, yes, if you must know, I wasn't going to tell you. When have you ever cared about what I did? Our marriage has been based on lies and deceit since day one.
Oh, and whose fault is that?
What do you...
You've always had a weak spot for the young dashing gentleman, haven't you? Anyway, how's Mr. Tallingford, by the way?
I don't know what you mean.
Of course you do. Of course you do. You know, I'm not blind, I'm not stupid, you know. I know what's all been going on behind my back. Those unexpected rehearsals during the day. Those private drink parties after the show. You know, the theatre grapevine has been working overtime these last few months. The whole cast is talking about you and Mr. Tallingford. Why do you think the bottle has been my constant companion?
Oh, you're being oversensitive. I haven't seen Mr. Tallingford for days, except for on stage.
Then why was it a bag of walnuts here, in this very dressing room? Does he know that you've got a nut allergy?
Of course not.
Then I'd make sure that you don't kiss him tonight. You know how bad your reaction is to even the slightest hint of a nut. And I suppose he's going with you to London?
Oh, of course not. Why would I take extra baggage with me? He has been quite an entertaining diversion from this dull, squalid place, that's all. Goodness knows I've needed it. I don't think you can get a much greyer place than this. It's awful. In London there would be so many delightful things to keep me entertained that I shan't need him.
And does he know that?
Of course not, but he's young, he'll get over it pretty quickly. They usually do.
You know, I'm not going to divorce you, you know.
I didn't think for a moment you would. Well, it doesn't matter, you know. I've already spoken to my lawyer, and he's drafting a contract which will make me financially independent of you from now on. I may have to be married to you for the rest of my life, but you won't see a penny of my earnings. And when I die, all my money shall go to charity. There is a charming little stray cat's home that would be thrilled to receive my money. You won't get a thing.
You heartless woman, how could you after all
I'm
we've
signing
been
the papers
through?
tomorrow. Because you deserve it, after all you've put me through.
Jim, you just don't care about me, do you? How am I going to live? You know I earn a pittance in this place. I've only kept on because I'm your husband. Apparently, that means something. The moment you leave, I'm going to be out of my ear.
Oh, well, perhaps Tilly will take pity on you. She's always been fond of her
Tilly's a fine girl. A finer lady than you'll ever be. I'll never understand how she's tolerated you all these years. You certainly don't deserve it, but I could never ask her to look after me.
Stop whining. It's not my fault you've got absolutely no talent. You're lucky to have kept the job this long. The management would have got rid of you years ago if it wasn't been for my intervention. Well, now it's time for you to be a man and stand on your own 2 feet.
You're not going to get away with this, you know. I'm going to fight you to the end.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Arthur. You're too weak and feeble to do me any harm. Now get out! Some of us have a performance to prepare for.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Arthur. I didn't realise you were still here. Did she tell you about, you know?
Oh, yes. And it wasn't pretty. You're welcome to her. Just don't let her bully you.
Oh, don't worry. I don't intend to.
Good girl.
Miss Alice, there's 20 minutes to curtain up.
Ooh, what are those?
Flowers, Miss Alice.
I can see they're flowers, Emily, but why have you got them?
They're for you. They were left at the stage door.
Oh, really? Is there a card?
No, they were left anonymously.
Oh, get some water for those, Emily. I don't want them to die. And while you're doing that, could you make me a sandwich? I suddenly feel a bit peckish. Ham and tomato would be nice, and don't forget to cut the crusts off.
Yes, madam. Miss Alice?
Yeah.
I was wondering, as I'm not to come to London with you, would you be kind enough to give me a reference? You know, so that I can get a better chance of getting a new job.
Emily, I have far more important things to do than to waste time in writing a reference for you.
But...
Now leave me. I need to do my makeup. Who is it now? I've got to get ready. Come in!
Is the coast clear?
Oh, it's you, Clive. What do you want?
I just came to see how you were.
Oh, don't kiss me.
Well, why ever not?
I'm doing my makeup.
Oh, of course. Sorry, I've just seen Emily. I see you got my flowers.
Oh, they were from you. Oh, that was me thinking I had a secret admirer.
But you do. It's me, of course.
Except you're not that secret, are you?
What do you mean?
Well, it seems the whole of the theatre has been talking about us.
Really?
Yes, Clive. And why do you think that is?
Well, I may have hinted to some of the chaps, but nothing specific.
Oh, Clive, how could you? When we started our little liaison, I made it very clear that you were to be discreet. I do have a reputation and a husband to think about, you
Oh,
know.
I am sorry, my darling. I didn't mean to make things difficult for you. It's just, I've never been in love before, and it is such a wonderful feeling. I want to tell everyone. Forgive me. It won't happen again.
You're right. It won't happen again. It's over between us.
What? But I said I'm sorry.
Too late for apologies, Clive. The damage is done.
But surely now that everyone knows, we can be open about it and declare our love in public.
It's not possible.
Why?
Well, you might as well know. You're bound to find out very soon. I shall be leaving at the end of the week.
Leaving?
Yes, I've been offered a job in London. I start rehearsals in a fortnight.
But that's wonderful, darling. Congratulations. But don't you see? That's perfect. We can go to London together. And there's nothing holding me here. Except you, of course. And we could start a whole new life together. No hiding, no sneaking around and afraid of people seeing us.
No, Clive. You don't understand. This is my chance to make a fresh new start. A new beginning. And I don't want to take any baggage with me. I'm going alone.
Is that how you see me? As baggage?
No, of course not.
It is, isn't it? After all these months, I am nothing to you except a piece of luggage to be discarded when its usefulness has run out.
Now you're just being silly.
Silly! I love you. Doesn't that mean anything?
Not to me, no. You've been a welcome distraction from the drudgery of this place, that's all.
A distraction?
Yes, darling. Is that so terrible? You were there when I needed you, and now I don't need you anymore. Don't be too upset there. You'll meet someone else and fall hopelessly in love with them, just like you did with me.
You heartless woman. All you care about is yourself.
Of course, it's dog eat dog in this profession. You have to be strong for the whole thing, or the whole thing destroys you. I had my opportunity, and I'm taking it. Now please leave. I need to finish getting ready.
But darling!
No, do I need to spell it out for you? It's over! Now get out!
You'll not get away with this. You're mine. And if I can't have you, then no one else will.
Clive, dear, you're beginning to sound like one of the pathetic characters you usually play. You're a man. For goodness sake, act like one.
Oh, believe me, I intend to. No woman makes a fool out of me.
Oh, who is it now? Go away, I'm trying to read my script. I'm busy.
Auntie Alice, it's Tilly. Can I come in?
I'm busy, Tilly. Can't it wait?
No, Auntie, please.
Oh, very well, if you must.
Auntie Alice, I've just been talking to Uncle Arthur. Why didn't you tell me you were leaving?
I didn't think it was necessary.
Not necessary? So you were just going to walk out of my life without telling me? I've been your closest confidant for years now, ever since Mother died so tragically, and you didn't think I should know?
Yeah.
But why?
Because I wanted to avoid exactly this. This is why I haven't told you, haven't told anyone, not even Arthur.
Well, I know that. The poor man is distraught with worry. You've always been selfish. Mother would turn in her grave if she knew how you've treated her brother. You are a spiteful, manipulative woman.
Well, Tilly finally shows her true colours.
Well, I've had a good teacher. But it's true. You are spiteful.
Well, you would know all about spitefulness, wouldn't you, Tilly?
I don't know what you mean.
I think you do. You're a past master at spitefulness, are you not? I'm sure your mother can tell us all about your spitefulness. Oh, no, she can't. She's dead.
You leave my mother out of this.
You'd like that, wouldn't you, Tilly, for me to not ever mention your mother again? What would your Uncle Arthur think of you if he knew the truth?
You wouldn't tell him.
Wouldn't I? I've kept your secret for so long, it would be a relief to tell somebody.
No, Auntie Alice, please, you wouldn't.
Ooh, what a story. What a story that would make. Just picture the scene. A young girl, punished for something she didn't do. Bitter that her mother wouldn't listen to her, so she gets the chance and the girl slicks some nuts into her mother's sandwich, knowing full well her mother is allergic to them. What the girl doesn't realise is how strong that reaction is. And within moments of eating the sandwich, the mother is dead. Killed by her own daughter. I'm surprised you still eat the things, those flipping walnuts, particularly as you know your mother and I share the same allergy.
No, please don't tell anyone, I beg you.
The time for begging is over. If I were you, girl, I would pray that between now and next week, the truth doesn't slip out.
You wouldn't.
Wouldn't I? I've got nothing to lose. Your uncle and I are over. I shall be miles away from here. I think it would be quite fun to let the truth slip and watch what happens. Perhaps part of my farewell speech.
I hate you! I always thought you cared for me, but it's obvious you never did!
That's true. I don't think I ever did.
Auntie Alice!
Get out. I can't bear to look at you. Oh, and a word of advice. Ditch the nuts. They can be harmful to one's health.
This is your 5-minute call, ladies and gentlemen. Your 5-minute call.
What have you said, Tilly? She just ran past me in floods of tears. I couldn't stop her.
Just a few home truths, that's all. Maybe you should ask her about it. I'm sure she could enlighten you on a number of things.
Well, I brought you sandwiches. Emily asked me to bring them to you. I'm afraid there's only one left. Your precious Mr. Tallingford. He took one from the plate. He seems to be in a bit of a state and he suddenly needed food. Can't imagine why he was so upset.
Please, Arthur, I'm about to go on stage and I don't need a lecture.
Now, don't worry, Alice. I've not come to fight. I've come to say goodbye. I shan't be seeing you again.
What?
Yeah, I've realised what I've got to do. I realise that means letting you go from my life. So, farewell, my dear. You'll be gone from my life forever. And if I'm honest, I don't really care.
Arthur.
Miss Alice, you're on stage in 5 minutes. Where would you like me to put these?
I've decided I don't like them after all. Do what you like with them, but take them away now!
Yes, Miss Alice. Alice? Help!
So, there we have it. Did she deserve it?
Yes.
You heartless people. Nobody deserves that.
Yes, you do.
However, there might be some very good reasons and motives why people would want her dead. So, who might it be? Would it be Emily, the long-suffering dresser and helper, who's just been given the sack and just left after all those years of service? Or maybe it's the long-suffering husband who's turned to drink because there is no love in that marriage, who too has been thrown aside on his own. Or maybe it's passion. Maybe Clive can't bear to live without her, and therefore will not let anyone else have her. Or maybe it's young Tilly, her dark secret, finally going to be revealed. Another murder, maybe? You know, she killed her mother? Who knows? So, you've got 3 or 4 minutes to chat amongst yourselves, share insights, talk about who you think it might be, and then in a few minutes we will actually talk to the suspects themselves. So, 3 or 4 minutes, here we go. And in the meantime, we will remove the body from the stage. How are we all doing? We've been discussing, I hope you're not talking about tomorrow's dinner or something. I've been discussing the crime here. You need to take this seriously, alright? This is very serious. The government are cutting funds to the police. It's, you know, we need your support. So should we do a little bit of a straw poll, see where we are at this stage of the proceedings? So who thinks it might be Emily? Hands up if you think it might be Emily. Okay. Who thinks that it might be Arthur Davenport, the husband? Good. How many thinks it might be Clive, the spurned lover, crime of passion? And who thinks it might be young Tilly? Oh, Tilly looks the favourite at the moment. Okay, well, we'll, can we have the, just carry on talking to yourselves a second. Just need to see if they've recovered backstage from the shock. The musician will keep playing, have a bit of a sing-along if you like. Can I have the suspects on stage, please? Please welcome the suspects to the stage. So, what can I tell you? Well, what was the mode of murder? Well, this is the guilty party. We've had CIS, or whatever it is. CSI, even. I can tell you watches television all day long, can't you? And the murder weapon was a piece of walnut in a sandwich. That is how it happened. So, that's a little bit of information you might need to know. That might change what you think about the person who did it. Or it may not. But let's have a little chat, shall we, with our suspects here. So, Miss Emily Bagworth, you were the person who found Miss Davenport's body, were you not?
I was. It was a dreadful shock.
Can you tell me in your own words exactly what happened?
Well, I came into a dressing room with some flowers she'd received earlier. She asked me to put them in water. It was nearly time for her cue, and I told her that she was due on stage. She took one look at the flowers and told me to take them away.
And why did she do that?
I don't know. She'd seemed pleased to receive them when they arrived, but when I brought them back, she said she had decided she didn't like them, and I was to remove them immediately.
And then, what happened?
I did as I was instructed, and took them away. When I came back, she was slumped over the chair, dead.
How did you know she was dead?
I felt for a pulse, but couldn't feel anything.
And how long had you been out of the room?
Not long, a minute, maybe 2. I put the flowers in another dressing room.
And before you got the water for the flowers, had you been in the dressing room?
I had been with her initially, but then she asked me to get a sandwich. She often gets peckish before curtain up.
And did you get the sandwich?
I did. We have a small kitchen area backstage, and I went there to make them.
And did you bring them back?
No. I knew that I would need more time to do the flowers, so I gave the sandwiches to Mr. Davenport as he was going in the direction of the dressing room.
And when you left the dressing... This is a murder. It's very serious. I don't think you're taking this seriously. I think she might be hysterical. Hysterical. Overcome, I think it is. Is that crying? That better be crying. So,
Sad.
when you left the dressing room to make the sandwiches, was there anyone else in the room with Mrs. Davenport?
No, but I did pass Mr. Tallingford heading in that direction. He is very friendly with Miss Davenport.
Tilly Preston, will you leave the stage? I do apologise.
Not a problem. It's very emotional at this time of
So you saw Mr. Clyde Tallingford. Right, the three of you leave the stage. It's not funny, you know. This is serious. There has been a murder and you lot are not taking this seriously. Well, I've good mind to lock you all up. You're all accessories to murder in my eyes. If you can mock the dead... Wickedness. Wickedness, nothing but wickedness in this place. I tell you, it's people like you that the world could do without. So, no, off. Miss Bagworth, you will return to the stage alone. I will not have this hilarity. Sit down. Don't even think about it. So, Miss Bagworth. Yes, I agree. Totally agree on the front row. They are disgusted. Look at them. Faces like thunder down there, they're disgusted. How long have you worked for Miss Davenport? No comments, please.
About 15 years. I used to work with another actress. She and Miss Davenport were working together at the time, and when my employer retired, Miss Davenport, who was that didn't make sense.
Who was
looking for a dresser and general helper, took me on.
So, it's safe to say that you knew Miss Davenport very well.
Yes, I'd like to think so.
So you knew about her allergy to nuts?
Of course. I prepare many of her meals. I wouldn't be a very good assistant if I didn't know that, would I?
And have you worked with Miss Davenport constantly since you started working with her?
Yes, I've been everywhere with her. Admittedly, it's never been very far from here, but I've always been loyal to her. Next page. So how did she feel when she told you she was not taking you to London?
Sorry, I turned over 2 pages of my notes. So, Miss Bagworth, let's get back to this.
Let's do.
How did you feel when she told you she was not taking you to London?
Well, obviously, I was shocked and worried, very worried. There's not much call for dresses my age these days.
No.
The chances of me getting another job are pretty slim. And of course, I'm worried about my mother. She needs constant care and medication, and that doesn't come cheap. It has left me in a very, very difficult situation. Who knows where we will end up? If I can't pay the rent, we'll be out on the street before you can say Jack Robinson.
So you have every reason to want her dead.
How do you work that out? Whether she's dead or alive makes no difference. Either way, I've lost my job.
But vengeance is often a very strong motive.
It is, but it is not in my nature. What she did was cruel. That is in her nature, but I understand why she did it.
Can you think of anyone who might want her dead?
As I said, she had a cruel nature. Who knows what enemies she made over the years?
Thank you, Miss Bagworth. You may stay in your seat. Mr. Davenport, you may come in.
It hasn't been very nice back there. It's been a dead body of my wife back there.
Sit down. Sit. Mr. Davenport, you had an altercation with your wife earlier this evening, did you not?
I suppose you could call it that.
What was it about?
I don't think that's any of your business, Inspector.
May I remind you, Mr. Davenport, that I am conducting a murder inquiry here, and that you are a suspect. Any withholding of information will not help your cause one iota.
Oh, if you must know, there was a number of things, but mostly about money.
Money?
Yes, Inspector, money.
Would you care to enlighten me?
Oh, not really. But I will. She's just told me that she was cutting me off without a penny. Now, I don't have much of my own personal income, and she knew that. And she knew it would leave me in a very difficult situation. You see, Inspector, I don't have the talent of my wife. She's the one who made the money.
And you were the one who spent it.
That's unfair, Inspector. The money I spent, I was entitled to.
So, after this altercation, you left, is that right?
Yes.
And that was the last time you saw your wife?
No. I came back later to say goodbye.
Goodbye? Were you going somewhere?
Yes, I mean, after Alice's revelation, I decided that I just couldn't stay around to be humiliated anymore. You know, I've got family in the West Country, and I decided that I should just go and stay with them for a while I worked out what to do. Knew there was a train leaving just after 8 o'clock, and I decided that I had to be on it.
And how was your wife when you left her?
Alive, of course. You know, she was being a usual spiteful self. You know, she obviously had words with Tilly, and that upset her. I think she made up her mind, and therefore she didn't care how many people she hurt.
How would you describe your relationship with your wife?
You're assuming that we had one. You know, we were always at loggerheads. Alice was desperate to be someone I was not. It had always been her dream to head the bill in London. Our relationship, it deteriorated years ago, but in a funny way, I loved her.
You've told me you were financially reliant on her. I would suggest that when she told you she was cutting you off without a penny of her money, that you decided to kill her.
But that's just it. I had relied on her for years. But although her announcement was a shock, it wasn't totally unexpected. I'm not stupid. Now, I could see what was happening. I'd been saving as much money as I'd been able, and well, she'd forgotten that I had some money for my sister's will, and which, although not huge, is going to keep me going for a while. Alice thought that by cutting me off without a penny, she would inflict the cruelest blow to our relationship. Sadly, she did that years ago.
But now she's dead, you stand to gain a lot more.
I don't like the implication of that remark, Inspector. If you were implying that I killed her, then you're way off the mark. Yes, I stand to gain a lot financially from her death, but as I have already said, I loved my wife.
Even though she was being unfaithful behind your back?
Inspector, we're all unfaithful in one way or another to the ones that we love. But there is such a thing as forgiveness.
In my experience, Mr. Davenport, true forgiveness is rare. The need for revenge always wins.
Then I feel sorry for you, Inspector.
That's very kind of you, Mr. Davenport. But I tell it as I see it. And in the job that I do, revenge is a very potent emotion. You say you didn't seek revenge. I will take your word for that for the moment. But you have yet to convince me. Mr. Tallingford, you may come in. Mr. Tallingford, you were having an affair with the deceased, were you not?
Oh, please don't call it an affair. It makes it sound so tawdry. It was the real thing. We were very much in love with each other.
That is not my understanding of the situation, Mr. Tallingford. From what I've been told, Miss Davenport saw you as nothing more than a distraction, a bit of fun. Is it not true that she told you earlier this evening that she was breaking off your relationship? There are a number of people who saw you come out of her dressing room extremely distressed.
Well, what do you expect? I loved her. Why did she do that? We had something special.
Obviously not. At least she didn't view it that way.
But I don't understand. We were so in love. Her move to London was perfect. It was such a perfect excuse for us to be together. It would have worked.
Whether it would have worked or not is not the issue here. The question is whether you had motive or not to end her life.
You can't believe that I would harm her. She was such a lovely and beautiful woman.
Is it true that you had a bowl of walnuts in her dressing room yesterday?
Yes, but what's wrong with that? It's not a crime to eat in a dressing room, is it?
No. But were you aware that Miss Davenport had an acute allergy to nuts, and that traces of walnut were found in the sandwich she had partially eaten?
What? No! I didn't know that she had an allergy to nuts. Are you saying that's what killed her, were some walnuts?
The evidence points in that direction. Miss Davenport seems to have had a swift and fatal reaction to the sandwich.
But surely it could have been an accident.
I don't think so. The sandwich was ham and tomato. Why would walnuts be included? No. Someone knew that she had an allergy to nuts and slipped the walnuts into the sandwich, knowing that she would eat it at some point. Very clever ploy. The murderer would not even have to be in the same room.
But if I'd wanted to kill Alice and knew about the allergy, which I didn't, it wasn't me who supplied the sandwich.
That's true. But you had access to the sandwich before it reached the intended victim. Did you not remove a sandwich from the plate?
Yes.
May I ask why?
Well, I was hungry. It's as simple as that.
I'm afraid you're going to have to do better than that, Mr. Tallingford.
Look, I had a shock when Alice told me she was leaving. I'm not good with shock. It makes me hungry. When I saw the sandwiches, I took one. It not only helped me, but it gave me a childish-like satisfaction to know that Alice would be going without. I know it sounds silly, but passion makes you do silly things.
Such as murder?
No, not murder, that I could never do.
Very well. I believe you. For the moment. Miss Tilly Parson. You are the niece of the deceased?
Yes, by marriage. Uncle Arthur is my blood relative. He was my mother's brother.
You say was. Where is your mother now?
Heaven, I should think. She died when I was young.
And how did that happen?
She had an allergic reaction to a sandwich.
Really? And what was she allergic to?
Nuts. Like Auntie Alice.
So you knew that your aunt had this particular allergy?
After my mother died, it was drummed into me the importance of being careful.
When did you last see your aunt?
Earlier this evening. I had gone to her to find out why she hadn't told me she was leaving.
And what did she say?
What she said was very hurtful.
In what way?
Well, she kept threatening to tell my uncle terrible things about me.
What sort of things?
I'd rather not say.
Miss Parson, as I have mentioned earlier, I am conducting a murder inquiry here. You have to say.
was going to tell Uncle Arthur that
Yes, Miss Parson?
Tell me what, Tilly?
Tell you that I killed my mother.
What?
Yes, I did, but it's a lie. I didn't mean to kill her. I just thought it would make her ill.
What are you telling me, Miss Parson? That you killed your mother?
No, it was an accident. When I was very young, I had a big row with my mother. I can't even tell you what it was about. But I was so angry, I wanted to get my own back. So I knew my mother had a reaction to nuts, but I didn't think it was very serious. I was so young, I didn't understand these things. I just wanted to give her an upset stomach. I didn't mean to kill her.
So what happened?
When she died, I was so distraught that I went to my aunt and blurted it all out. She calmed me down and told me she would deal with everything. And she did. My mother's death was recorded as a tragic accident.
So your aunt died in the same way as your mother?
Yes. I'm sorry, Uncle Arthur.
And your aunt was threatening to tell all this to your uncle?
Yes, she was.
And you, in a fit of anger, like when you were a little girl, decided to kill her in the same way you killed your mother?
No, I didn't kill my aunt. I couldn't. She's always been good to me. She was alive and well when I left her.
And where did you go after you left her?
I went straight to the toilet. I was upset and I wanted some time on my own. I needed to think, to get straight in my mind what I needed to do. I knew that one day I would have to face the truth of my actions. Well, today was that day.
Can you think of anyone who would want your aunt dead?
No. Uncle Arthur knew about her allergy, but then so did Emily. But I can't think that either of them would want to kill her. Of course, I'm not so sure about Mr. Tallingford. Never really liked him. I always felt he was using my aunt to get on in the business. And I saw him eating nuts earlier. Oh.
Thank you, Miss Parson. You have been very helpful. So there we are. Does that change your mind? Do you still think it's the person you thought it was? We'll give you a couple of minutes just to talk amongst yourselves, and you lot need to be ready. Do you not know who it is? Who do you think it might be? I think it's Tilly. What about you, Gordon? Who do you think it is? Tilly. 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 Tilly, Tilly, Tilly. Yeah, what do you think? Oh, Tilly, 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 Tilly. Anyone not think it's Tilly? Who do you think it is? Emily. Okay. So, should we do a little straw poll? Who thinks that it might be Emily? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, you be quiet. You be quiet. Hands up nice and tall so we can see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, remember that? 15.
15.
Who thinks it might be Arthur, the husband?
Oh!
No, you've already voted over in that corner. Hands up nice and tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. He's got that look. Yes. It's the Welsh, isn't it? So 28 think you did it. What about Clive, the dashing one? Dashing on to the next one, I think. So, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 54. And finally, how many of you think it was Tilly, the slightly psychopathic niece? Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Did I count you? 24, let's put that one in. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. 41. So, who has the most, do we think? So, Clive first, followed by Tilly, followed by Arthur, followed by Emily. So, thank you. You keep all you think to yourself, all right? You're all in big trouble, so I wouldn't make any... So, let's go over... What did you three... Oh, you know, don't you? Do you three know?
Do they know?
Okay.
What do I think?
What do you think?
We don't know.
Really love it. Okay. So, what do we know? Let's just go back. We know that the murder was committed by putting a walnut into a sandwich that was then eaten by the victim, who then had an allergic reaction to it and choked to death. So, what we need to know, first of all, is who had motive. Let's start this end. Emily, long-suffering.
Oh, very long.
Just been given the sack.
Yes.
Her age, no chance of her getting a job. An ill mother to look after. Financially, as she said, if they couldn't pay, they would be out on the streets. I think that's good enough, don't you? Arthur, been there for years, suffered, long-suffering, alcoholic. Or at least fond of the bottle. Made to feel as though he was nothing. The only reason that he had a job was because of his wife, who didn't care for him. Used to all his wife's shenanigans with younger men. Clive wasn't the first one. There'd been many over the years. And then, to just add to that terrible, terrible thing, she then tells him he's not going to get any money. I think that's motive, don't you? And then Clive, the passionate one. Young love, jilted. And jilting makes you blind. And as he said, if I can't have you, no one else will. That sounds quite threatening to me, don't you? And then, young little innocent Tilly. Mass murderer already.
She's not innocent.
Suddenly her past is going to catch up with her. And it's all going to be revealed. And where will she be then? If not in Pentyville prison, somewhere else. So, okay, they've all got motive. So the next thing we need to know is who knew about the allergy. So, we'll start with Emily. Did Emily know about the allergy? Yes! Personal assistant for 15 years, of course she knew about the allergy. And Arthur, the husband, he did. And of course Tilly, well, yes, Tilly knew all about allergies. But what about Clive? Did he know? Did he know? He didn't know. He had no idea. Do you not remember that Alice said Does Clyde know you've got an allergy? Of course he doesn't. Why would he? He hadn't been with her for more than a few weeks.
Or at least a few hours.
Or even a few hours. So, we have 3 that knew about the allergy and 1 that didn't. So then next is, who had access to the nuts?
I did.
So, Clive. He'd obviously been having nuts earlier in the day and probably had a few more stashed away somewhere. So maybe. Did Emily have access to the nuts? Absolutely, she removed them from the dressing room. Tilly! Did Tilly have access to nuts? Oh, she did. And what? Will you be quiet, please? And what about Arthur? Did he? Did at any point, did you see Arthur have any touch the nuts? In fact, he said he couldn't understand their appeal. They made him nauseous. So actually, Arthur didn't have access to the nuts. And then finally, let's think. Who had access to the sandwich? To slip it in?
I did.
So, be quiet. I am speaking. So, who delivered this? No, who made the sandwich to start with? Emily.
Yes.
Who delivered the sandwich? So Arthur had access to the sandwich. Who else had access to the sandwich? He may have stolen a sandwich, but he might have a good sleight of hand and slip something in. You never know. What about Tilly? Did she have access to the sandwich? No, she was in the toilet. Don't ask.
Please don't.
So, with all that in mind, who is the one person who ticks all the boxes?
Is it me?
Emily Bagworth, I arrest you on Alice Davenport. Whatever you say may be taken down in evidence for you.
I did it.
Would you please leave the room?
Right. Come and visit me.
Well done, all those of you that said Emily! Excellent. Well done. Let's have the cast back, including the dead. We'll raise the dead. Give them a round of applause. Good. Well, it's now we've run over just a little bit. It's now, I think, it's 7:45. So we'll give you half an hour until the next session because we need to clear things and.